In Michigan, I'm Haley Kurzov. Mariah has the morning off.
And I'm meteorologist Joe Bellato.
And we're live here and also on Joe's Facebook account right now, too, for those of you who are watching.
Yeah, we're having a good time this morning, and we're tracking a few storms, unfortunately, but we need the rainfall.
Yes.
We do need the rainfall.
It's a little too dry outside.
A bit dry outside, and it's been dry throughout the month, and also relatively warm, and that looks like it's going to be the trend throughout the summer. Relatively warm summer and also a dry summer. That's great setting up today.
Lots of fun. Lots of sunshine today, then.
Let's get to the weather headlines, and here they are. Not so bad, more humid weather, possible storms, and also some sunshine. The forecast for today to start, and then unfortunately that weather will continue to decrease with clouds increasing and also some moisture on the way. Possible storms again. Here the temperature is looking relatively warm, 75 already in Lansing, 73 in Mason, 75 in Jackson, some 60s in Ann Arbor. But we are warming towards the 80s, and there's that cold front with some precipitation crossing the lake. We're going to continue to track it to see if the steam continues across the lake or if it dies down. That will be a big factor in our forecast. You can see cloudy skies by noon, 83 at 5 with scattered storms and a southwest breeze at 5 to 10 miles per hour.
New this morning, with summer in full swing, drivers will be seeing more orange cones popping up around mid-Michigan, starting off with road closures already starting in preparation for the Common Ground Music Festival next week. Grant Avenue between Shiawassee and Saginaw Streets, as well as Shiawassee between Grant Avenue and Cedar Street, will be closed starting tomorrow morning through July 13th. Lansing Community College is trying to minimize the impact on faculty and students, so parking lots on campus will remain open and detours will be posted near the closed roads. And down in Jackson, drivers will have to be on the lookout as well. The Michigan Department of Transportation will be doing more bridge work over I-94 starting Monday, this time at the Detman Road Bridge. The bridge will be closed for about 4 hours, and as always, make sure to take it slow around all construction areas. Well, a new law signed by Governor Snyder is encouraging judges to handle juvenile cases using informal proceedings and provide penalties that are more age-appropriate. The law gives judges more flexibility, allowing them to divert young offenders into a consent calendar. Supporters say this allows for a focus on rehabilitation and keeps lesser offenses off of their criminal records. If the crime is more serious, prosecutors would retain veto power over this option. Well, tomorrow is National HIV Testing Day, and there are plenty of clinics around in Michigan offering testing and safety reminders about the disease. In Ingham County, the Department of Public Health will offer free anonymous HIV testing from 8:30 a.m. to 4 in the afternoon. And last year, 22 people were newly diagnosed by the county. And down in Jackson, the health department at the Walgreens Pharmacy on Northwest Avenue will also be offering the free testing from 1 to 6 p.m. Both departments say 1 in every 8 people with HIV don't know they have it, and people who have it can live long, healthy lives as long as they get an early diagnosis. Well, medical miracles take place in hospitals all the time, but this time is for someone who also works in hospital. Sydney Pohl, a respiratory nurse at Sparrow, lost the use of her arm in an accident 20 years ago, and now a new device is letting her use that arm once again by electronically taking signals from the brain and sending them to the arm. Sparrow Hospital put the arm in place and will show it off tomorrow for the public to see the advancement of this type of technology. Well, an $8.6 million project from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, led by scientists at Michigan State, is shedding light on the country's bee population and how to stop it from disappearing. The MSU researchers have compiled data from across the country looking at where wild honeybees are common, where they are needed, and how to support a stable and productive bee population. Bees support about $4 billion in the agriculture every year, and population declined about 23% between 2008 and 2013. The upper Midwest, including Michigan, are among a handful of states in the country that depend on wild bees for their honey. While helping the hungry while eating is a concept thought up by one Michigan-based restaurant group, and today you can be a part of that. 6 different Applebee's restaurants around the capital area are owned by Team Showstack family restaurants, and they're participating in the Dine to Donate event. From 11 this morning to 8 tonight, 10% of all food sales at those restaurants will be donated to Salvation Army Capital Area, which will use the money for programs like the Food Pantry, Community Kitchen, and bill assistance for local families in need.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather on the 6s, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people.
Well, good morning to everybody. It is Sunday, and that means we are tracking your weekend forecast, the close, and also the week ahead. Let's start with today. skies. We're tracking a nice day so far, but some clouds will be increasing, and we're going to start to see some precipitation, possibly some storms develop. You can see temperatures relatively warm, 75 here in Lansing. There's a 76 in South Bend towards Kansas City, 79 degrees. That's pretty warm to start the day. And you see locally, we got some mid-70s on the board already. 77 in St. John's, 75 in Lansing, 75 in Jackson. Looks like Ann Arbor, the cooler spot, 67. Really not that cool, though. Humidity is building, dew points from 50.
If you can show the picture from yesterday, let me know.
It should be in the mid to upper 60s a little bit later on. You'll feel that humidity and also see the clouds start to increase. It looks like most of the moisture so far off the lake still holding strong. And now as it crosses into Michigan, we'll have to see if it continues that trend. But overall, here is the cold front, and I'll outline it quickly on the graph. You can see that cold front. That was not the best drawing, but it extends a little further south than that went. Overall, though, a lot of moisture with it and a lot of convection, which means some thunder and lightning possible. Take a look at it, though. You can see it takes a little bit to get overhead. Once it does, it starts to form around 4 or 5, very scattered in nature. The best chance south and east.
He was looking at his Facebook page too, so
thunderstorm today as it rolls on through. We'll have a clear night to start the day Monday. Lots of sunshine, and we'll continue that sunshine. But your day in detail today: increasing clouds in the morning, scattered storms throughout the afternoon, and then of course those clouds do clear up. 60s back in the forecast, waking up on Monday. Traffic-wise, take a look at it. Majors looking, of course, fine and dandy this morning. 96 west and east also looking good. 69 north and west. Top speeds or average speeds, not so bad throughout mid-Michigan this morning.
Yeah, so if you have any groceries you need to get or anything, I would say probably early on is better. Otherwise, you have to bring out the umbrella or have chances of at least high winds.
It'll be a quick mover. If it does rain, you see a downpour. Once it's done, it should be over with, and then we have clear skies overnight.
I like that.
And cooler temperatures in the forecast. I'll have that coming up.
Okay, thanks, Joe. After the break, for all the pet lovers out there, we have a lineup of furry friend events, including adoptions, going on in mid-Michigan today. You won't want to miss it.
And a live look outside, a blue sky, but clouds are increasing in Jackson. We'll have more coming up. Thank you.
A special screening of an eye-opening documentary about puppy mills is being hosted today by the East Lansing Film Festival. The documentary Dog by Dog is directed by Okemos native Chris Grimes and takes a look into commercial dog kennels which breed dogs. The screening starts at 4 this afternoon at Studio C on the 1900 block of Central Park Drive in East Lansing. Grimes will also be attending the screening to discuss the film with the audience members afterwards. Tickets are $8 at the door. And another puppy-related event today is Yappy Hour, a summer party for dogs and their owners. Frozen puppy treats, yard games, and a costume contest are all on the agenda for the wrap-up of the Dog Days of Summer series. The event runs from 5 to 6:30 this afternoon at the We Love Kids and Dogs building on the 1000 block of Grand River Avenue in Okemos. Everyone is invited to make it out to the last event of the summer and have some fun with their forever friend. And speaking of forever friends, if you're looking for one, we have some that are up for adoption from Last Chance Rescue. They have plenty of dogs and cats up for adoption today, and one of them is Ember. She's a 5-year-old Yorkshire Terrier mix who is shy but also a huge cuddle pup. She's a housebroken and needs a home with a fenced-in yard and no children under 10. Next up is Emmett, a senior poodle, close to 8 years old, who has a sad past but is still looking for a family who can bring him home into their loving abode. Adoptions for these dogs and other pets are open at PetSmart in Brighton today on the 8000 block of West Grand River Avenue from noon to 4. And after the break, Joe has more of our weather. A little bit of a drippy forecast ahead of us, right, Joe?
Yeah, a few thunderstorms possible with a cold front. I'll have details coming up in your full forecast after the break.
All summer long, your road to refreshment leads to Speedway. And now that Speedway's grown throughout the Midwest, Northeast, and Southeast, nobody has a handle on your summer fun better than Speedway.
Beautify your home with a new drive.
Sorry.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather on the Sixes, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people.
Well, a good Sunday morning to you, meteorologist Joe Galato in the Weather Center, tracking your forecast for the week ahead. Let's get right to it. Sky View Network, not looking so bad, but look towards Chicago. Yikes, that's some rainfall. Maybe some thunder and lightning too in the distance. They were up into the upper 70s, out 75 as the rain is cooling them down a bit. We're at in the 70s here, and 77 outside the WLNS camp. And the Capitol camp, there it is, looking good in the distance. The Grand River and Eastern Michigan Avenue in the distance. Also 75 for a temperature. Humidity levels holding at 62%. Southwest breeze at 11 miles per hour. No precipitation yet, but it is possibly on the way. 75 outside of Jackson, 66% humidity. Southwest breeze at 11 miles per hour. A few traveling down Grand Ledge, 77 in downtown Grand Ledge. A peak wind of just 2. I think the wind sensor a little bit off there. Should be a little bit gustier than that. 5 miles per hour outside of WLNS camp. 77 for temperature. Those dew points were in the 50s early on. Now already at 65. It's going to be a humid day. You can see already the winds are gusting, and they'll continue to gust around 15 miles per hour. Some of the thunderstorms, you could see gusts up to 30 or even higher. Really depends on how severe the storms do get. It looks like that risk is continuing to lower. So good news for those hoping for no severe weather. Hopefully everyone's hoping for no severe weather, but we're definitely hoping for some rainfall. That could be on the way after another windy day Monday. Take a look at it. Precipitation right on our doorstep. There it is, heading into Cadillac across the lake, and it's making its way into Michigan. We're going to see if this holds up, though. There's some drier weather overhead, also limited instability. We're going to see if these storms can hold up. I don't think the morning will be a worry, the early afternoon, but as we head into around 2, 3, 4 o'clock when the cold front swings through, that's where we could see some of this develop into possible storms. So there's the activity. See, it tries to break up on at least this model through the afternoon, but then redevelops overhead with spotty showers and or thunderstorms. I think the better chance the further east you go, as the instability has more of a chance to accumulate heading towards Detroit and Toledo. That heads eastward as it's out of here. We got more dry weather overhead, and we stay nice and cool, but low risk for severe weather, no risk for those in the lighter green and white colors towards Grand Rapids and further northward. If we're going to see anything, it'll be wind or hail, but overall, temperatures are warm. We're in the 70s, even some 80s towards our south and west. Right in Kansas City, temperature trend, there it is. We're going to cool down midweek and then back into the 80s, but no real warm up in the future. It looks like yesterday that 89 is the warmest we'll see. 85, increasing clouds, scattered storms today. And that's above average still. Mostly sunny Monday. Tuesday, 71, and then 77 Wednesday. But look at Wednesday morning, 49, waking up in the 40s, then back near 80 on Thursday, 80s for Friday, scattered showers. Let's hope for those showers as the plants need them and some of the grassy surfaces. Somebody said yesterday they were walking on the grass and they felt like they got a splinter. So we'll call it a grass splinter, and there's some grass splinters throughout the region, so watch out.
Yeah, and it's hard because, we all need rain, but at the same time, mosquitoes. Yeah. I'm definitely okay with not having mosquitoes around.
Yeah, it's a tough balance. Too much rain, too many mosquitoes, no rain, and the grass is all messed up and plants. So hopefully one summer we'll get the
perfect balance. Yeah. You can make that happen, right, Jen?
I'll try.
Okay, well, thanks. It's the hot topic that's been discussed by politicians and communities across the country, gun control. Jim Osmond takes a look at the lack of action on the debate in this week's edition of Capitol Edge when we come back.
Breaking news.
Nothing is moving forward in the legislature to make changes. CBS correspondent Jim Osmond gives us a rundown of the topic of the legislature and what concerns what Congress may accomplish in the coming weeks in this week's edition of Capitol Edge.
The prospects aren't great of gun control legislation passing when Congress returns. You take a look at the last 5 years as example. According to a network news analysis of bills in the Congress, it shows more than 100 measures have been introduced, but none have passed since 2011. All but a few ever even made it to the floor.
We have to occupy the floor of the House.
Speaking of the floor, Democratic congressmen and
If
women
you can, show this on
took to the House floor to protest further inaction of gun control since the Orlando massacre of 49 people at an LGBT nightclub.
I wonder what would bring this body to take action? What would finally make Congress do what is right, what is just, what the people of this country have been demanding?
House cameras were turned off, so the protest had to be shown on a live stream app. The House Speaker called it pure politics.
We are not going to allow stunts like this to stop us from carrying out the people's business.
Congress got nothing done in regards to any significant action on gun control or terror-related legislation before leaving the Capitol. And for all that hard work, Congress is off until July 5th. after the holiday. And get this, the published calendar of the House of Representatives has its last session as July 15th. And they don't come back until September 6th. I'm Chief National Correspondent Jim Austin in Washington.
Husqvarna Day sales event. From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather on the Sixes, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people.
Well, overall, it is Sunday morning, and many are heading out to golf. And yesterday closed the Michigan Amateur Champion, and a pretty cool last name, Sam Weatherhead, the champion. Congrats, he's from Michigan State, and that is great news. Also great news for at least the morning golfers. Not so bad as we head on into the afternoon. You can see some thunderstorms develop, so hopefully we have an early tee time. And I'll tell you, my scorecard doesn't look like this. I'm up in the hundreds. Not many people won hundreds on the golf course. A little bit too warm, but not a bad forecast, at least for the morning. But you see the precipitation is on our doorstep. It's moving slowly into the region, but you still see a lot of convection, still some lightning within the storm system. I think it's going to start to die off. But that's the cold front that's pushing some of this moisture into the Great Lakes region. Overhead of Chicago, you saw that image on the last weather hit. You could see some of the thunderstorms just developing into Chicago. Let's get to some temperatures already. 79 in Grand Rapids, 76 in Kalamazoo, 75 here in Lansing, 73 Howell, 76 Flint, 74 Mount Pleasant, and Atri, 64. Cooler spot on the board. Here is your 6-day forecast. Not so bad. Throughout the week, we're going to be dry. We're going to be cooler Tuesday and Wednesday. Unfortunately, not much rainfall in the forecast. A quick look at traffic. Traffic tracker, drive times. Let's get to them. I-96 and east, west and east looking good. And also 69 north and west. Really no accidents today. It's been relatively calm on the roadways. Skies have been relatively calm, but some precipitation could be moving in.
Yeah, it's not going to stay that way, maybe.
No.
We'll see. Well, thanks, Joe. Coming up after the break, we have another half an hour of news, weather, and sports. We'll see you on the other side.
Beautify your home.
Michael Johnson, we're just here to honor you for being on.
But it wasn't working. We're in commercial break right now. I'm trying to set this up perfectly. But I'm going to take it down, so hopefully you'll watch it.
I sent the photo again, Joe.
Yeah, so... Hello, Matt.
What should we talk about, you guys? Any suggestions?
Yeah, any suggestions? What should we talk about?
I sent the photo again.
Guess you guys are quiet this morning.
Uh-oh. My battery's almost
You guys have had, oh no. You guys have had less coffee. Less coffee than we have.
Viewers. Here we go.
Okay, speaking of.
So, yeah, it's commercial break right now.
What are you doing today? You said that the 6th is later, right? The 6th is at 6:30? Sorry? Okay.
Yeah. So the 6 o'clock tonight's at 6:30, by the way. It looks like I'm looking the wrong way. It's because the camera's over there.
It's because the camera's over there, yeah.
And Matt, I got your photo. I'm going to see if it's loaded on. Hopefully it is.
You tried to earlier. I heard him say, oh, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, it wasn't working.
Are you going to do anything fun today, Joe? Other than sleep?
Sleep.
Sleep.
Track the weather.
Car in.
I can't wait to get my broadcast link.
You get to watch all the cool commercials, too.
Yeah, we have all the jingles memorized.
I'll give you our look real quick.
Floor Director Corey.
Doing a great job as always. Alrighty.
I can't read it.
See, I'm too tall.
Sorry. Good morning in Michigan. We're
Excited, and we're not tracking too much precipitation, but overall, unfortunately, the weather is not going to be the best for those hoping for a nice sunny forecast.
Don't spend all day outside.
Yeah, don't spend all day outside.
Make some inside plans.
We are tracking a cold front, and that's what's going on right now. If you take a look at satellite radar, we are watching it on the board, and there it is, moving into Cadillac and crossing the lake. So as it crosses the lake, we're tracking to see if it holds its speed, if it holds the instability, if it holds all the thunderstorm activity across the lake. So far, it has been. We'll see, though. It could be a bit interesting heading on into the afternoon, evening. It really depends on how much sunshine you get and how much of instability does develop overhead. But here's the cold front. You can see it right overhead, heading into Green Bay and crossing the Lake Chicago. We'll see the image in just a bit on the full weathercast, but you can see the thunderstorm storm just popping up right in downtown Chicago. Current temperatures, let's take a look at them. It's warm already, near 80 in Grand Rapids. We got lots of mid-70s on the board, and coming up, I'll have more on that forecast, including when we could see possible thunderstorms.
We're following national headlines this morning and starting off with California, who is in a state of emergency as 6 massive wildfires rage out of control. The largest is in the central part of the state, and fire crews say there's no containment in sight. At least 2 people and possibly a third have already died trying to escape the wildfire. And yesterday, residents of Lake Isabella were able to return to their neighborhood only to
I have faith in you, Joe.
Behind. Thousands have been evacuated and hundreds of homes have been destroyed. And on the eastern side of the country, once-in-a-century floodwaters have submerged whole towns in West Virginia, killing at least 24 people so far. Late last night, President Obama signed a disaster declaration to make funding available for victims in 3 counties. The National Guard and Federal Emergency Management Agency have been deployed to help with the search and rescue teams to help the small towns of Clandon, which is mostly underwater. The vehicles and houses are being carried away by the rising floodwaters. And in Fort Worth, Texas, a shooting at a nonprofit dance studio has left 2 young men dead and 6 more injured. Investigators say people were having a party inside Studio 74 just after midnight on Saturday when a fight broke out. The fight then ended in the parking lot where multiple shots were fired. The victims were 22 and 18 years old. No arrests have been made in the shooting this morning, and police in the area are asking for tips from the public. And back here in mid-Michigan, one local community addressed the recent debate over gun violence with a Second Amendment baseball game. The Battle Creek Bombers held the event as a part of Second Amendment Education Night on Friday. Our affiliate station in Kalamazoo has more.
While the Kalamazoo Growlers play a game in honor of the February 20th mass shootings,
to really give back for something that means a lot to our community.
Their crosstown rivals with the same owner are hosting Second Amendment Education Night.
Sorry.
This is not meant to come off as insensitive to anyone. I feel that a lot of phone calls today in the past few days talking to fans that may have an issue with this and trying to inform them of really the idea behind it. And again, not everyone's going to agree with it, and honestly, I think that's great. Hopefully it sparks some important debates that maybe weren't happening before.
Bombers GM Tony Iovino says the night was scheduled long before the February 20th mass shootings in Kalamazoo. Along the fan deck, there will be 24 booths dedicated to firearm safety and education.
What I really hope is someone comes here today and they learn about firearm safety, and then an accident doesn't happen in the home. Hopefully there's some positive things that come out of this at the end of the day.
They've planned ahead for the negative, too. Iovino says they will not be serving alcohol to anyone with a gun and are partnering with local law enforcement.
There'll be added security here to just make sure it's still a family-friendly night.
Well, dry weather seems to be the theme of the summer this year, and local farmers are hurting because of the lack of rain. 6 News spoke with local farmers who say the season started with too much rain, delaying the start of the season because they couldn't plant. But now it's the opposite problem, and every day that passes without rain becomes a bigger threat.
When you don't have adequate moisture in the soil going into that reproductive phase here in a couple, 3 weeks, that's when it'll be really, really important.
If mid-Michigan doesn't catch up with rainfall for the summer, farmers tell us crops will be in critical condition, and they'll consider it a drought. And although conditions are drier this year, mosquitoes are still starting to come out with the start of summer. And starting today is Mosquito Control Awareness Week to help people avoid the blood-sucking insect. According to the Mosquito Squad, the Awareness Week is to educate the greater Lansing community about the significance of mosquitoes and how to eliminate them. The National Squad has more than 200 locations nationwide, and they always start the awareness campaign the second week of summer with a list of tips to help people control the mosquito population. The first tip, and most important one, is controlling standing water. Just a bottle cap full of water sitting out is enough to breed hundreds of mosquitoes. They also recommend tossing out yard waste, which includes twigs and leaves, which is another breeding ground for the bug. They recommend preparing your home as well for the summer season by cleaning out gutters, keeping lawns cut short and weed-free, and regularly checking your irrigation systems for leaks. And for a full list of tips and the dangers of mosquitoes, we have a link to the Mosquito Squad website in the Scene on 6 section of our website, WLNS.com.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather on the Sixes, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people.
Well, the time's 8:36, and talking about mosquitoes, you think last year there were a lot of mosquitoes. In June, we saw 8 inches of rain. So that bottle cap was throughout the entire region. That's why we saw so many mosquitoes. I was using the skeeter meter just about every forecast. This year, not so much out there. It's been dry, and overall it's been relatively warm too. We saw 390s here in Lansing so far. Last year, just one throughout the whole summer, and that was back in August. So already this year, it's warmer than last year, at least high temperature-wise, and overall the temperatures are relatively warm this morning, already pushing 80 degrees in Grand Rapids, already at 79. And look at the dew points. Earlier on, you saw them in the upper 50s, now pushing mid-60s, so humidity levels definitely on the increase, and you'll notice that stickiness throughout the region. Speaking of Comfortcast, well, it's not going to be comfortable today. A 7 out of 10 uncomfortable, as we're in a medium to high category. Hopefully you have your air conditioning working, because you may need it today. After the cold front pushes through, we'll be all right, though. You see the clouds will continue to increase with all that moisture just crossing the lake, as they're seeing some thunderstorms in Cadillac and further north and west of Lansing. But you see this cold front, and I'll outline it quickly. Let's see how I do this time. Last time, not that great. That was pretty good. There you go. Nice little cold front there. That's going to continue to swing on by, and that's going to lift some thunderstorms possibly through the area. Now I'm thinking a little bit later on, you see the activity tries to break up and then redevelop overhead around the 2-3 o'clock hour into 4:30 overhead of Lansing, and then further south and eastward. And it looks like if any severe weather would occur, it would be south and east of the city. So overall, we're tracking a possible severe day, but I think the risk is relatively low, and if we do see any thunderstorms, they'll be short-lived. Not so bad, 87 possible as we head into 2 p.m. hour. Temperatures start to decrease, and heading into the overnight, we're going to have some clear skies, develop some stars early Monday morning before the sun does rise, and that sun will stay out throughout Monday. Traffic-wise, we're looking great on the major highways.
Yeah, doesn't look like there's any problems despite there being orange cones, it seems like everywhere.
Yeah, it is that time of the year, but overall, we'll see how this forecast goes today. I think we'll be okay, though.
Hopefully drivers don't, just take it calm, be calm on roads. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks, Joe. After the break, Brexit has not only raised concerns over European government, but has become a hot topic for the campaign trail. We have details on how presidential candidates are addressing the Leave in this week's race to the White House.
And a live look outside of the Jackson camp. Good morning, Jackson, and good morning, Michigan.
No. The controversial decision of the United Kingdom to leave the European Union has sparked a new discussion on the campaign trail. CBS correspondent Mark Meredith has the latest on the campaign trail from Washington.
Overseas and in the middle of the action, Donald Trump is starting the weekend in Scotland and putting himself in the global spotlight.
It's an amazing day, very historic day for a lot of reasons.
Speaking from his golf resort, Trump is comparing the decision by UK voters to leave the European Union as a similar situation American voters will face in November.
I really do see a parallel between what's happening in the United States and what's happening here. People want to see borders.
Trump's European visit comes after a particularly rough week on the campaign trail. Trump fired his campaign manager, admitted his fundraising numbers are significantly less compared to Democrats, and continues to face uncertainty about his support from fellow Republicans.
Thank you.
Hillary Clinton will head to Indianapolis on Sunday to speak before a U.S. conference of mayors. But it's her former rival, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, who's stealing the spotlight, saying for the first time he'll support Clinton in the fall.
Are you going to vote for Hillary Clinton in November?
Yes. Yeah, I think the issue right here is I'm going to do everything I can to defeat Donald Trump.
While Sanders says he's going to vote for Clinton, there's still no word when we're going to see that endorsement or some sort of joint appearance. We may have to wait up until the convention in Philadelphia, which is now 1 month away. That's a quick look at where things stand in the race for the White House. In Washington, I'm Mark Muir.
And coming up on TV6, more discussions of Brexit on Face the Nation.
Britain leads the U.S. Marco Rubio on presidential politics and the latest CBS News Battleground Tracker, all on Face the Nation, America's #1 public affairs program today.
And after the break, meteorologist Joe Gallardo is standing by with a less than beautiful day outside, but hopefully not too bad, right, Joe?
And not so bad. Yesterday, though, was a beautiful one. We'll see how today goes. More details coming up after the break.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather on the Sixes, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people.
Well, the time is 8:46, and we're tracking the forecast for the week ahead. Let's take a look at it first. We're going to start with yesterday, which was a beautiful day. This is a picture sent in to me from Matt Howell. He said, Joe, if you could show this on 6 News, me and my mom went on a bus ride with a friend. It was such a nice warm day. Yeah, it was. Now, hopefully the air conditioning was kicking up there in the bus because it kind of got relatively warm. We got up to 89 degrees here in Lansing. Today, different scene sky-wise as clouds are on the increase and towards Chicago. Yikes! There's a thunderstorm. Tough to see the skyline as the waves are kicking up there with some of the gusty winds from that storm as they had a thunderstorm just pop up in Chicago the last half hour or so. But overall, we're just tracking some increasing clouds from that cold front that's pushing moisture into the region. Also gustier winds already at 11 miles per hour out of the south and west. This is the capital, Cam, 75. For the temperature, Jackson, you saw the blue skies earlier. They're starting to fade away. 75 also in Jackson. Humidity sticking in the 60% level, 66 currently for humidity, and southwest breeze at 11 miles per hour. Grand Ledge, you can see the trees blowing in the distance. Obviously, the wind not working on the graph. Maybe the wind bar just not registering. It says 0 miles per hour, but the trees are moving probably around 10 miles per hour throughout the region. 6 outside of the WLNS cam. Winds will stay out of the south. Look at the dew points. There's 67 earlier on. We were at 59, so we already went 10 degrees above for dew points, and that's a big change. Dew points really don't change that drastically unless the front is approaching, which is happening as we have the south breeze warming us up dew point-wise and moisture-wise. And the next step will be the front to lift everything up into the atmosphere, and that's what's going to happen. You can see some of the gustier winds with that front as the winds will shift towards the west and slightly out of the west and then northwest. Still gusty around 16, 15 miles per hour, sustained gusts up to 30 possible. There's the storm system pushing clouds through. I've been saying it looks like it's going to die off and starting to slowly die off. You can see some of the lightning bolts beginning to fizzle out as it crosses the lake heading into Michigan. But Cadillac and Muskegon woke up to a roaring thunder. So did Green Bay and further westward into Wisconsin. Chicago, we talked about that storm. You can see the last few frames. You can see some of the lightning strikes just heading over to Chicago. There's that cold front pushing it through. Your precision cast will take it through the storm system, tracking it. You can see it redevelops overhead around 2, 3 o'clock. And then the heaviest activity looks to be out of our viewing area. Hopefully that trend continues. That's why we're under just a low risk yesterday. We were under a slight risk. If we're going to see anything, we could see some winds or hail damage, but I really do think we're looking okay severe-wise. Your 6-day forecast, take a look at it. Mostly sunny for the day on Monday after we get through the storms later on, and we stay dry throughout the week as we have 71 for Tuesday. Sleeping weather looking nice for Wednesday, 77 for a temperature. By Friday, we're back in the 80s, possibly some moisture we needed. A quick look at the majors looking good. Downtown Lansing also looking good. Of course, a few slower spots, but no major accidents to report on.
Your 2016 champion for Michigan State University,
And there he is, folks, a senior to be at Michigan State. Sam Weatherhead wins the 105th Michigan Amateur yesterday. Good morning. A beautiful day at Eagle High yesterday. So on to the match play in the afternoon for the championship title. Weatherhead had quite the following on one of his home courses. Mancinelli was up by 1, but on lucky hole 13, Michigan State Spartan Sam Weatherhead sinks the putt for the birdie to put himself on top for the first time in the championship round. Now jumping to hole 14, this is where Weatherhead seals the deal. A simple putt rolls right into the cup for another birdie to solidify his lead. Now on to hole 15, the icing on the cake. Weatherhead chips onto the green within inches of the hole. He, however, takes the title. What a tournament for him, defeating Dominic Mancinelli 4-2 to win the 105th Michigan Amateur.
Means a lot. Came a long way from when the week started. Opened up with a 78 and was really able to battle back from that. The next day, shoot a 72. Even as the week progressed, 6 rounds of match play after that, it kind of progressively got better. So it was a great week. Go back-to-back home courses here, so I'm already looking forward to next year at Egypt Valley, and very happy with everything that happened this week.
To have a kid who's on his way up
a rising senior who's beloved by this community, works in this community. It's a special day for all of us.
You say on his way up, this helps that process, doesn't it?
Absolutely. We talk about summer being the most important time in their development. You know, he's got a job, he's got an internship right now, he hasn't been able to practice like he wants to, and for him to come out here and do this, it's what kind of kid he is, and we're all super proud.
I know this course like the back of my hand. I've been playing it for 3.5 years now. I've never seen it in as great as condition as it was today, and this past week, it's great to come out here and represent Eagle Eye as best as I can.
And congrats to him. The Lansing Lugnuts were home yesterday against West Michigan, and before the game, big doings with 2 new inductees into the Michigan Baseball Hall of Fame, and something the Lugnuts just started last year. 2 new inductees this year, including former Tiger and ex-Spartan star Kirk Gibson, who couldn't attend yesterday. His wife Joanna and son Kevin did the honors on the Gibby plaque, with Fred Human emceeing the event. Looking good, Fred. Also inducted the Homer baseball teams from 2003 to 2006, a dominant program. The Trojans set a national record with 75 consecutive victories. After the plaques were unveiled, Homer coach Scott Sallow threw out one more ceremonial first pitch. When he was done, Kirk Gibson's son Kevin threw out a first pitch to his brother Cam, who played yesterday for the Whitecaps. A neat moment and a huge honor for the new inductees. And that will do it for sports. Make sure to tune in tonight at 6 and 11.
Well, thanks so much, Alex. Alex, after the break, we'll take another look at today's top stories.
And I'll have a look at your photo of the week.
Oh, so exciting. We'll see you guys there.
Beautify your...
Before you head out the door, here's a look at today's top stories. Drivers will be seeing orange cones popping up around mid-Michigan tomorrow, starting off with road closures already in preparation for the Common Ground Music Festival next week. Grand Avenue between Shiawassee and Saginaw Streets, as well as Shiawassee between Grand Avenue and Cedar Street, will be closed starting tomorrow morning through July 13th. And tomorrow is National HIV Testing Day, and there are plenty of clinics around mid-Michigan offering free testing and safety reminders about the disease. In Ingham County, the Department of Public Health will offer an anonymous HIV testing from 8:30 a.m. to 4 in the afternoon. And down in Jackson County, the Health Department will be at the Walgreens Pharmacy on Northwest Avenue, offering free testing from 1 to 6 p.m. Both departments say 1 in every 8 people with HIV don't know they have it, and people who have it can live long, healthy lives as long as they get early diagnosis.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather on the Sixes, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people.
Well, it's that time of the week. It's Sunday photo of the week time, and we're going to switch things up. Earlier was the bird that we saw yesterday on the Jackson cam. Now we're going to change it up. It's Rachel's picture, and a really nice one. This is a cloud-to-cloud lightning event. There's 2 ways to get the lightning to go. It's either cloud-to-cloud or cloud-to-ground, and when it starts to fire up in the clouds, it's really a cool light show, and it's not as worrisome as you see some of the strikes coming down towards the surface, but a really cool event. You can see the cloud has a little bit of a red tint to it too, with that bolt splashing in the cloud. That's a very, very, very cool image. Thank you, Rachel, for that picture. Notice that the lightning starting to subside, also some of the moisture beginning to break up. You can see it just as it's heading over the lake past Milwaukee and Green Bay. They woke up to some thunderstorms, but overall the trend looks to be beginning to dry up just a bit, and that's the forecast. Once that's overhead, though, we'll see how much instability builds throughout the day as temperatures are already warming to see if we will get any thunderstorms or not. But already 80 in Grand Rapids and Lansing, 82 in Flint, 76 in Howell, 75 in Jackson, Adrian finally pushing into the 70s. We're on our way up to 85 degrees. 85 also for Monday, drier and cooler as we head into Tuesday, 71. Speaking of cooler, look at that. As we started off the day at 72, 71 for a high on Tuesday. Wednesday, 49 to start at 77, and then we warm into the 80s by next weekend. Not going to be as warm next weekend, but still we should hold on into the lower or maybe the 80s. Overall, you see the billboard, not many people on 127, but if you're traveling down south from Lansing to Jackson, it'll take you about 25 minutes. South on 127, of course, the business route locally is closed, and drive times looking great so far this morning.
Yeah, the picture was really cool of the lightning. You know, we haven't seen that many summer storms, and that's something I love, but hopefully we'll see some soon. Thanks so much for waking up with us. Have a great week.
Thanks, Joe. I knew you'd get it working this time. Bye.